Good evening, everyone. This is the Farmington Historic District Commission. I'm Shannon Rutherford, the town planner. I will do a quick roll call of the commission members. Joanne Lawson.
You on mute, Joanne?
Joanne, can you hear us?
Yes, finally I can hear you.
There you go. All right, perfect. Okay, so Joanne's in attendance. I will note for the record that Jim Calciano is absent today. Cliff Mix.
Here.
Michelle Fallon.
Here.
Jay Bombara.
Here.
And our alternates, Liz Gemsky.
Here.
John Renahan.
Here.
And Ted Sanford.
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, it's all yours.
Okay, first of all, thanks everybody for getting on. We should probably have a short meeting, although we can take the time we need. And with that, I'll probably call the meeting to order and jump right into business. I think we'll do what we usually do, which is Shannon will help us run the elections. Just a couple quick things on that. Shannon and I did have a couple of emails to make sure we're trying to do this in the most proper way. So what we're going to do is, because Jim Calciano is a regular member, he's not here. We're going to go through each officer position separately, nominate separately, and then vote separately. I will appoint an alternate, both for purposes of nominating and then voting on that nomination. But I'll do that for each officer candidate. My intention is to just go down the list so that everybody gets an opportunity to participate in a position. So with that, Shannon, can you run this? Is that what we usually do, or do you want me to do it?
Sure. No, I can take the nominations for chair. Who would you like appointed? Which of the alternates for the voting, nomination and voting of chair?
Just looking at my list, so I'll take that order. Liz Gemsky.
Okay. Okay, so for chair, I need a nomination with a second for the position of chair.
And the nominations are to come only from the full-time members and the alternate?
From the seated members, correct. So that would include Liz plus our 4 regular members that are in attendance, correct. So a nomination for chair, please.
Well,
I nominate,
go ahead.
I nominate Jay Bombara.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to say, so I'll second it.
Okay.
Well.
All right. And are there any other nominations? Going once. Going twice for a nomination. Okay. Jay, would you like to say anything regarding the nomination?
Yeah, I'll just say, as I have in the past, I appreciate everybody's faith in me to do this fairly competently. And if you would like me to serve, I'm happy to serve. So with that, we can vote.
In a second, and we'll do a roll call vote just so that we're very clear. So Joanne Lawson.
In favor.
Cliff Mix.
Yes.
Michelle Fallon.
Yes.
Liz Gemsky. Yes, she was seated to vote on this.
Sorry, yes, sorry.
Thank
I
you.
was on
Nope,
mute.
that's
Sorry.
okay. And Jay Bombara.
Sure. Yes.
You vote for yourself tonight. Okay, perfect. Passes.
So
5-0.
the next position, I guess, would be vice chair, and for that, I will ask John Renahan to serve as the alternate to vote on this, nominate and vote on this.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so I would be looking for vice chair for a nomination for someone to serve as vice chair, please.
I'm not saying you need to nominate him, and I didn't have a direct conversation with him. I'll just say, for what it's worth, if anybody's thinking about it, that Jim Calciano, I'm sure, is willing to serve in any office that anybody thinks he might be appropriate for. But
Well, thank you, Jay, because that was going to be my question. And then that stated, I'll go ahead and nominate him, Jim Calciano.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Is there a second to that nomination, please?
Second. Joanne.
Joanne, thank you, Joanne. Okay, are there any other nominations for vice chair? Again, I'll ask one more time. Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, Jim is not here to speak on his own behalf regarding this, but as Jay noted, I believe he's happy to continue in that position and move ahead. But Jay, okay if I go ahead with roll call at that point?
Please.
Okay, so we've got the nomination and the second, so roll call for vote. I'll go in order again. Joanne Lawson,
In favor?
Cliff Mix,
Yes.
Michelle Fallon,
Yes.
John Renahan,
Yes.
and Jay Bombara.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, secretary,
Yes, I'll appoint Ted Sanford to nominate and participate in the vote on this position.
thank you. Okay, again, for secretary, I will, looking for a nomination for secretary, please.
I nominate Michelle Phelan if she will serve.
Yes, thank you.
I second.
And second, I'm sorry, who was that, Ted?
Yeah, I second.
Perfect, thank you, Ted. I had my head down, I didn't quite see it. Okay, Michelle, would you like to, are there any other nominations for secretary? Going once, going twice, no other nominations. Michelle, would you like to say anything regarding your nomination?
Nothing more than thank you very much. It's my pleasure and honor to serve and to work with all of you. I enjoy you all very much. Thank you. And I learn a lot too.
Thank you. Okay, I will do roll call vote again. Joanne Lawson,
In favor?
thank you. Cliff Mix,
Yes.
Michelle Fallon,
Yes.
Ted Sanford,
Yes.
and Jay Bombara.
Yes.
Okay, we are all set. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thanks, everybody. So the next order of business, and I wanted to broaden just a little bit, but is this town attorney's opinion. Really, the issue, I wanted to make sure that this board is aware of a process we have, which I think works well. I haven't heard any complaints, but I just want to make sure we're being transparent. So, as I think you all know, there's a criteria for whether or not, even if you have a property in the historic district, for whether or not you're required to get a temporary certificate of appropriateness. And part of that is whether or not the exterior of your property or building is viewable from a public street, way, or place. And this occasionally comes up. But at any rate, the process before we get to the town attorney's opinion, the process is that the staff in the town hall, Shannon or her other staff will email me if it's questionable, or if it's not questionable, I'm sure they don't bother because I don't see all of them, but they'll email me and say, what do you think? And we'll just sort of have a back and forth and make sure we're comfortable. If it's gray, my opinion, which they're soliciting and giving me the final call, is I'll tell people they need to come in. So, there have been a few where people have asked, and which is good. We want homeowners to come in and ask so that there's no confusion, or certainly we don't want anybody to be surprised that they start a project and find out that we think they need a TCOA. But at any rate, this kind of came up a little bit with the Hillstead, not the Hillstead itself, but one of the properties that you can kind of sort of see the backyard from the Hillstead. And so I asked Shannon to ask the town attorney whether or not the Hillstead driveway would be deemed to be a public way or street or place for purposes of this. It was still, quite frankly, questionable how much you could see. There was going to be a fence. I think they put a pool in or something like that. But at any rate, we did get the opinion from the town attorney. I see really no reason to, I think it's fine. You could probably make arguments either way, what exactly a public way is, but I mean, the dictionary definition to me seems to fit that. So with that, I just want to throw it out there. If anybody wants to comment or question or, has concerns about the way we're doing things, now would be the time to do it. So I open it up.
If I may, I would like to just make one small
Sure.
clarification,
Yeah.
Jay.
Please.
Town staff, we do not do an administrative sign off that has not gone before you.
Right.
So even if it's a roof, like a roof, and we think it's like for like, we still send it to you. So you do see all of them, whether it's painfully obvious
Okay.
that
Yeah.
it doesn't need a TCO or the ones that are questionable. We will not do a sign off without the chair's review.
Yeah, I didn't mean, right, but thank you for pointing that out. I didn't mean
No,
to
that's
imply-
okay.
What I assumed was there are some which absolutely they're gonna need one and you don't bother me. That's all. I
Correct.
did. But yes,
Yes, sir.
that is true. I've never run into one. And by the way, well, that's a different topic. There's a house on Colton Street which is being worked on and it's not in the district, it turns out. But anyway, I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Took my breath away the other day. I didn't realize it. So anyway, back to the thing. I won't necessarily roll call people. So if anybody wants to jump in, please do.
I read the attorney's letter, and I agree. And I think sometimes some of this can be a little bit of a slippery slope, but I think that if it's been defined, as not being a public road, and is considered private, then I concur with the recommendation.
Ed, did you have something?
Yeah, I agree with Michelle. I don't agree with everything that the attorney stated in his letter, but the part that I do agree with is that the Hillstead driveway is a driveway and not a public way, and you cannot see what they're doing for mountain roads. So, I would agree with it. We accept it.
Good. Yeah, I know. He did say something about there's a fee too. There's not a fee to just drive in, but that's okay. It was not, that wasn't a relevant fact. I don't think.
We addressed this at the last meeting. Am I wrong? That's why I asked for the attorney letter and the emails. Did we not?
I wasn't here, so if you did, I apologize. That's why I just wanted to make sure it was brought up. That's all.
Yeah, no, Liz, it was brought up, and I can't remember if we saw the attorney letter or not, but it was, so Jay, it was raised as a, FYI, hey, this came up.
Okay.
Here's what the opinion is. So I do think it was a good idea just to be able to take it an extra step and just kind of talk it out a little bit, and then kind of formally call it a wrap.
Okay. I just couldn't remember how we left it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. I think because it was on the agenda, but then Jay unexpectedly wasn't able to join us in November, because it was on the agenda, we touched on it, but we didn't dive into detail with the understanding that we would likely do exactly what we did this evening. So. Yep.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Of course.
All right, if there's nothing else, then I think the last thing to do is to approve the minutes from November. I wasn't there, though I did read them. I don't have any typos, but does somebody else want to make a motion to approve them? Oh, I'm sorry, John, you have a question, your hand up.
Yeah, and maybe this is new business, so we do it after the minutes, Jay, but I just wanted to brought to my attention, and again, Shannon can maybe help comment, but Main Street, I think, is governed by the state, and there are a bunch of new signs put up, pretty big significant signs, and a few neighbors brought it up with me. I don't know if anyone noticed any of the new signage on Main Street, and I don't know if we have any say over that.
What signs are they? Are they traffic control signs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna have any say, because it's being governed by MUTCD and safety standards and lane. It's typically dictated by speed, distance, so I don't think we're gonna have any say over that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I don't recall, I'd have to look. There might be an exception too for the town or the state-owned property or something to that effect. Although I know they're not really on state property, they're on somebody else's, but at any rate, yeah, I don't think we can do much there. Never been aware that we could.
Yeah, even with
Other than to say, you know, I mean, look, you can't stop somebody from getting a hold of DOT or the commissioner and saying, look, you're putting up all these signs, do you really need them?
right, and you can.
And maybe that's my question, Shannon. Do you as a town get a heads up at all, or they just install them?
I don't, and it wouldn't have come through me, so
No.
if anything,
Yeah.
it would have come through Director of Public Works and our highway superintendent coordinating. And honestly, if they're replacing signs and they're lane signs and route marker signs and
These are new signs.
yield,
There wasn't signs there before.
not necessarily, they would not necessarily have been told that these signs were going in.
All right, maybe it's something I'll follow up on because again, I obviously don't want to interfere with safety, but I don't think there was a safety issue. It's like letting people know that there was a street there and in which direction. It's by Miss Porter Road, and there were 3 new signs installed.
Yeah, I wonder, I did see that, the stop sign, it's got 2 kind of like stakes on each side, and it is kind of, it was noticeable to me, going up Porter Road and going onto Main Street. It was
And then there's
a bigger presence than it was there, for
I was
sure.
gonna say, then across the street, Liz, there's a huge sign that says you can go left or right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre. And I don't know if there were other spots along Main Street they added signs, but there were 3 kind of brand new signs put in. So I just thought I'd bring it up because it was brought up to me by a neighbor that didn't like them.
John, there's particularly around the Porter Road and Route 10 intersection.
Yes.
Yeah, that may have been even a porter's request if they were having trouble with circulation and people following. It could have been a request from porters with respect to traffic management.
Okay.
The stop sign, if it's a stop sign on Porter Road, depending upon where it is in the right of way, that I'm not sure if that's a town or a DOT. The sign across the street with the arrows for left or right would definitely be a DOT. But it's possible because Porter's has, I think part of that area is a drop off for either day students or their 9th and 10th graders, and then their juniors and seniors are off on the back off of Garden Street. It might be part of the Porter's drop off.
And it may have not any cognizance, but it does remind me that right around September, Porter's puts up that, and I think it's Porter's, unless it's the town, about school back in session, but it revolves around Porter's, not necessarily Noah Wallace, which is just right down the road. And I'm like, well, what about Noah Wallace? Don't we care about those kids? It's just kind of odd placement. Like there's multiple schools in that area. I just thought that was odd.
Right. Yeah. And again, if Porter's is putting them up as a reminder for motorists that I think part of it too is because their girls are crossing Route 10 regularly, right? The Noah Wallace kids are not crossing Route 10 on a regular basis. So that might be the
Well, they're in the morning and the afternoon, right? Kind of going back and forth, but yeah, I hear you.
Yes. If those students are walking to and from school, there would be select students walking to and from school in the morning. I think the Porter's girls are more continuous throughout the day. But point taken. Yes.
Or going to Starbucks, but anyway, my daughter went to Porter.
I know
so
those girls.
I can say that.
Economy
Okay.
boost.
John, that's interesting. Cause I'm just curious now. I'll definitely make a point. I guess there must be real recent because I've not noticed them. That's either I haven't gone by there, which sounds unlikely, but I'll look for that. Okay,
No, I
so
haven't
back
seen it.
back to the minutes. So is there somebody that was here or would like to make a motion and somebody to second it or offer changes or revisions?
I
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
That was Joanne.
and then I'll second it.
Is there further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Let's see, we took care of John, had that extra other, anybody else, wanna bring anything up other than I hope everybody has a happy holidays and get some time off? Okay, hearing none, adjourn. Take care all.
Well, have a
Thank
great
you.
holiday,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.